Hey guys, welcome to week 3, which is working with numbers. For this, I have to create a sheep clicking game. So every time you click a UI button, it counts sheep in Old English language, as you can see here. And every time we reach to 20 and we click again, that means we sort of saving a marble, resetting the counter, and having a total sheep worth of 20 because one marble equals 20 sheep. So now if you click again, we go to 40. We click again because we want to save this 40. That's marble count 2, total sheep count 40, and sheep count 0 for the current sheep count. So we're going to start counting sheep again. So in order to do this, I'm going to create a new project. Call it working with numbers. I'm gonna do week 04, so week 03, working with numbers. Create a project and let it load up. Oh, sorry. There we go. So the first things first, I'm gonna start off with, I'm gonna create a 3D object, which is gonna be a plane. I'm going to make sure it is centered. I'm going to rotate it minus 90 degrees on the x-axis. Going to scale it 10, 1, 10. And I'm going to create a new folder here, call it materials. Right click on the folder, go create material. I'm going to call it a scene. We'll drag and drop it to our plane. And I will change it to a bit of a different color. Reddish is okay. Now we can close this folder because we're not going to use it anymore. Don't worry about this, it's not going to be visible in the camera. As you can see, this is my game view, so this is all that's visible through the camera at the current moment. So right now what we're going to do is we're going to right click on the hierarchy, go to UI, click text. Now in the scene view, you've got this little button here that states 2D, and it's basically going to create a 2D view of where the camera is facing, which is going to zoom out a little bit and you're going to see your UI. Now don't worry about it because this is not actually where the camera has to look. This is always going to be on the screen, so this doesn't have to be. So camera doesn't have to cover everything. So as you can see, I'll drag the text and it kind of moves around in here, which is the camera view, but the camera is actually somewhere here. But it still covers everything. So this is really cool about the UI in Unity. So I'm going to expand it, just make it a bit smaller, like this. I'm going to click Ctrl D on the selected text layer twice. I'm going to rename them. This one I'm going to call sheep count. This one I'm going to create call marble count, and this one will be our total sheep count. The shield, yeah, the shield. Sheep count. There we go. I'm going to select the second one. I click W on the keyboard, drag and drop it, holding shift. And the third one, I'll do the same thing. Now I can arrange them so they kind of stack together, they will snap in place. So this is our 3 text variables. Now don't worry about what they currently say. This doesn't really matter for now. We're just going to select both, all of them, and we're just going to move them just slightly to the right, just like a little pixel. And now what we're going to do is we're going to right click on the canvas again, UI element, and we're going to click button. Now we'll move this button to the bottom corner. Doesn't really matter where it is. I'm just going to put it in the corner. And I'm going to rescale it to be quarter of the screen. Now if you want to edit the UI elements, you have to click this button right here, which is the UI element editor sort of thing. And now that we've got this set, I'm just going to click on the button. I'm going to make it a bit of a different color. And for the actual text, I'm going to change it to count sheep. Perfect. I'm going to close this because it's just going to be less distracting. And now what we need to do, guys, is create a new folder here. Call it scripts. Yeah, I spelled it wrong. I'm horrible at talking and writing at the same time. I'm going to right click on the create and going to do C# script, and I'm going to create a script working with numbers B20 because we will be working with a B20 system. Let's open this up, again using Visual Studio. Let's get rid of all these comments to get rid of the start void. We don't need this. Now the first thing we do need, although, is in the very top we've got the using Unity engine and using system collections. Now this basically tells our script that it's going to use the pre-written sort of scripts from the pre-written engine script from Unity itself. So we want to extend this just a little bit by typing using Unity engine, .ui semicolon. That means this script will now be able to override the UI and use it. So let's start with some things. So in order to create a base 20 system, instead of just typing out each name, we're going to create an array of names. So we're going to do this by writing public because we want it to be editable from the inspector. String because it's a string is basically a line of text. We're going to do open and close square brackets. That's because that will declare that this is an array of string. And we're going to name this. I'm going to do A for array. That's how I categorize my code. And I will do, let's say, Old English B20. Now, for the next thing, I will need to do a couple more public variables. Public text, and I'm going to call this T sheep count. Public text T marble count, and public text T total sheep count. Now we're creating those because those are the texts that we created with Unity UI, and these will be the scripts giving to them, so we can edit them very easily within the script itself. So that will help us a lot. Now we will create some private variables now. That means they will not be shown in the inspector, which is good because less stuff in inspector means better, less clutter, easier to understand and read. So we're going to do private integer. I'm going to do I sheep count, private integer I marble count, and private integer I total sheep count. Alright, so integer is a number without decimals, so it's just a normal number, where a float is a decimal number. So we don't even have to declare the value for them because it's the default is always 0. So just leaving them like this, it's okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to create another void, and we're going to call it display text, or you can call it whatever you really like. I'm just going to call it display text because it's going to be easier. Just for the code clearing, we're going to do this here and this here. Alright, so now that we have this void, let's call it within the update function. Now you don't actually have to do this. The reason I'm doing this is because I like to keep my code clean. So now in the display text void, we're gonna create some functions and methods that will explain what we want to do with the text. So the first thing we want to do is display the Old English system. So that will be the T sheep count dot text equals, and we want to change the name to sheep count, and we're gonna do, sorry, goddammit, I'm so not used to this keyboard, plus like this, and this is just a normal space within quotation marks that basically adds a space within the line of code. And what we're gonna do then is we're gonna add the a Old English be 20, and since it's an array, we have to include the square brackets, and now we have to tell what we actually want to write out. So in order to write out, we need to give it a number, because the array uses numbers, uses integers between 0 and whatever. So the number that we want to display is at the moment 0. We want to display the sheep count. Since we want to count in 1, 2, 3, we need to give it numbers 1, 2, 3. So what we're going to do is we're going to give it the I sheep count, because it's an integer for the sheep that we're currently counting. Currently 0, and if we add to it, it's going to be 1. So just going to keep on changing the text accordingly to what I sheep count stands for. Now what we need to do is create another text method, which will be t marble count dot text equals, and we're going to do marble count plus space plus, and now we're going to do I marble count, because we want to display how many marbles we have. Now, since we cannot really use an integer as a string, because obviously a number and a line of words are completely two different things, what we need to do is we need to do dot to string, and in normal brackets we're going to put quotation marks and we're going to type in 0. That means we're changing the integer, so we're changing the numbers to words that will be described as numbers. Again, it's kind of weird, but it works. So that's the way of actually making it work. And what we're going to do is we're going to do exactly the same thing for t total sheep count dot text equals total sheep count, like this, plus I total sheep count to string 0, and we're actually just gonna add those colons here. Cool. So this is our display text variable, and this is what's gonna happen every frame. It's just gonna be constantly displaying text. So now let's create another void, which will be button pressed, let's say, and we don't want to include it into any update, but what we want to do is we want to make sure that this is a public void. That means it can be accessed by Unity engine itself and different scripts. So here we're gonna write a piece of script here which will be checking for the integer numbers, and it will do different actions as it will sort of give us a reaction to the actions that we're going to give it to. So what we're going to do is we're going to create some if statements. So if, let's start with the I sheep count. So if I sheep count is, so it's smaller than 20, it's less than 20, we're going to do something. Now we're going to do else if, actually no, I think it's just else. Okay, and what we're also going to do is another if statement, which is if I sheep count doesn't equal 0, we're going to tell it that we want to do I total sheep count plus plus. Now, so this is the first, so we're actually kind of starting from the bottom, but it's the fastest one. So basically every time we click a button and the sheep count doesn't equal to 0, it's going to count to our total sheep count. So this is quite useful because we don't want to make that every button click is another sheep. So that kind of how to make it work properly. So if 20 is bigger, if 20 is more than I sheep count, we're going to do I sheep count plus plus, and else is I marble count plus plus, and I sheep count equals 0. So if we save this and we build it, make sure that there is no build errors. As you can see, 1 succeeded, 0 failed. That's good. Now if we apply this script to our canvas, you will see that our canvas has gotten our script here, and it's asking for the variables here, which is tShipCount, tMarbleCount, tTotalShipCount. So just going to drag and drop these text variables here. And we'll also have a little arrow here next to a old English B20. If we open this up, you see there it shows a size. So what we're going to do is we're going to type 21 in here, and we have to fill it out with the old English system. I'm not going to do this because I don't actually remember this by heart, and I'm not really have time to look it up on Wikipedia right now. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Whoop. Oh, wait, okay, there's no. Sorry, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. There we go. So the 0, element 0 is null, which means 0 sheep, and that will help us with our code. So now you can see, click the button, wait, nothing happens. The reason for that is if we go to the button itself, we forgot to tell it that every time we click a button, something is supposed to happen. So on the button here itself, we've got a button script, and that has an on-click sort of window here. So we click on a plus, and we're going to drag and drop canvas into it. That's because canvas has a script which is working with numbers B20. Now you can see here we've got to work with numbers B20, and we click on, we hover over that. That will show up more options, and we will find that there is a button pressed void, which is a public void that we have created. Now if we create that, click that, that will mean that every time we click the button, it should use the script provided. So as you can see, it counts, and if we count to 20, we have total sheep count of 20. And if we click again, it gives us no, it gives us a marble counts 1 and a total sheep count of 20. So now we can click it again, and it counts sheep again. So that means now we've got 40 sheep that we have counted for a sheep. Let's save this into a marble, and we can carry on again. So just a quick reminder, we've created a plane and given a material to make it look nicer, created a canvas with 3 different texts and a button. Now we've created a script that involves a public array of string, 3 public text variables, 3 integers, a void update which calls to a display text, which is right here. Now display text takes the text that we want to change. So this one, the sheep count, shows a Old English B20 string array using a iShipCount number to display which text do you currently want to use. The other 2 are just generic texts which convert integer to a string. Now we also created a button pressed which uses basic if statements. So if iShipCount is less than 20, it counts sheep, and if it is bigger than 20, it removes the iShipCount, switches it back to 0, and it counts, gives us a marble. And also if iShipCount doesn't equal to 0, it adds the total amount of sheep that we currently have counted. So we have saved this, and in here everything is gone for some reason. There it is, it's back. So now we can obviously click File, Save Scene. Let's create a new folder, Scenes, Main Scene. It's important that you do that. And let's save this project. And we are done. So thank you very much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.